What's up? This is Rob.
This is Brad and Joe
from Linkin Park.
What up? This is Mike Shinoda.
This is Chester from Linkin Park.
Everything you say to me is one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Crawling in my eyes become so numb. I can't feel the way I did before. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. This is my December.
It's Kevin and Bean's Breakfast with Linkin Park.
It's Kevin and Bean Show. How about a little breakfast? How about a little breakfast with Linkin Park? Ladies and gentlemen, that's Linkin Park performing live for you here at Breakfast with Linkin Park, Kevin and Bean Show. That's sweet. That just happened. We'll be back with more Our Questions and Yours right after this on the Kevin and Bean Show.
Kevin Bean, Linkin Park.
You'd be like a big breakfast machine.
Breakfast with Linkin Park.
All right, we're
Checking
back.
1, 2, 3. Check.
All right, we're back. It's Breakfast with Linkin Park, people. Come on now.
How about something new?
Like a riot rocking every revision, but you listen to the tone and the violent rhythm, and though the words sound steady, something empties within them. You say yeah, fists flying up in the air, like we're holding on to something that's invisible there, cause we're living at the mercy of the pain and the fear. Until we get it, forget it, let it all disappear. Yeah. Waiting for the end to come, wishing I had strength to stand. This is not what I had planned. It's out of my control. Flying at the speed of light, thoughts were spinning in my head. So many things were left unsaid. It's hard to let you part of ending is starting again. Thank you.
It is Breakfast with Linkin Park. Chester, Mike, all the guys are here.
You guys want to sit? You want to sit?
Today's a big day, a day a lot of us have been waiting for a long time. 1,000 Suns available for download and in stores everywhere in America today. You played what is the new single.
I guess so.
Yes.
What's it like getting a chance after working on it for so long, for so hard, to finally get a chance to play some of these new songs live in front of folks?
Nerve-wracking.
It's sort of scary, or?
Well, it's weird because the way we write, I mean, it's really we're just, you know, it's kind of like anything goes in the studio, and we're not the kind of band that sits around and jams together. You know, we don't play 6 guys in a room and make a song that way. I mean, we've only done that, you know, probably less than 5 times ever on records, you know. And one of them was actually a song on this record, but now at this point, I think that we feel like when we're in the studio, we can really creatively, you know, push ourselves to do something really unique. And sometimes that means, you know, playing some stuff that will be difficult to make it translate on stage. But I mean, so far we've had a pretty good time. Like, you know,
Like just now.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, we've talked to hundreds of bands, and bands will come in and they'll say, we've radically changed everything. And then we'll listen to it.
We said that last album,
Yeah,
in fact.
and then we'll listen to it and I'll look at him and I'll go, sounds the same to me. This one is different. It's a new direction. Tell us about 1,000 Suns, and did you stay away from things that would have fit before?
You know, I think that when we began working with Rick Rubin, his whole thing was like, if you guys want to do the same thing, then it's not gonna work for me. You know, and we were like, great, because if you wanted us to do that thing that we were known for doing, then we probably wouldn't want to work with you either. So this is gonna be great. And on this record, you know, we really, really wanted to allow ourselves to be free and allow ourselves to really, you know, not be focused on the radio.
You're saying screw the radio. That's what you're saying.
We were saying what are easy ways of getting out of your comfort zone. You know, not doing verse chorus, bridge, double chorus out is a pretty good standard song structure, right? Well, let's just get away from that and let's let the music do what it wants to do. And if, you know, some songs on the record don't have choruses, some songs are in movements, and that's kind of how we went with it.
That's a good point. Chester made that point. I didn't.
You
really
want to kiss him?
I didn't really put that together in a way like once we finished the record. I gotta take these out.
That is a horrible.
Everyone's yelling for you two to kiss. I'm just telling you.
Put the visual of that in my mind.
Yeah, I have.
Come on, if things are really different for this band, let's see some man on man.
So I can actually hear all the heckling. One time, like at some point after we finished this record and we're listening to it back, it was almost like, you know, just that feeling of when we were listening to the demos and we knew they were different and we knew that it was going to be a little bit of a challenge. Number one, to make the song work, and number two, to get behind it and stand out there with all, you know, you guys sitting out in front of us and saying like, this is our new music.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you don't hate it, but we love it.
I totally respect where you guys are coming from, and I know that the art is what's driving you. I get that. But there has to be, even if it's not spoken, there has to be something in the back of your mind that goes, we've sold 50 million albums the way we've been going.
Yeah.
Are we setting ourselves up for, hey, you guys suck, which is what inevitably people will say.
Yeah,
some people will say if they're...
You know, I think that...
All right, some people. Take it easy.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, even if you make... The point is totally true. Like, we could make the most radically different record and there would be people that say it sucks, and there would be... We could make Hybrid Theory again and people would say it sucks because they'd be like, oh, I already have Hybrid Theory, I don't want that. And, you know, there's always a reason to say it sucks. So that's why we can't pay too much attention to that. I mean, we have to go with what feels good to us.
Well, they're missing out if they don't get behind this record. It's my favorite Linkin Park album so far.
Thank you.
Me too.
That's awesome.
And let me ask you this question. Is it meant to be listened from beginning to end in one piece? Because I'm not that type of person. I find a song.
Yeah.
And I listen to a song 1,000 times and then I never listen to it again.
Well, let me ask a question. When you go to the movie, do you show up in the middle of the movie and watch 5 minutes and then walk out?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
No,
but what I was saying was this one, I felt like, well, there's no breaks between a lot of the tracks, and I just felt like I needed to
But you have the
listening.
patience to do that, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So
I did with this one.
Here's the
that's
thing.
I mean, what we're hoping for, it's like, we know it's a little bit of a favor to ask of a lot of people. Like, we're asking a lot to say, you know, this is intended to be listened to beginning to end. It's 48 minutes long. It's not, you know, I mean, it's going to take a little time but if you give it the time, you'll get something extra out of it, you know, as opposed to just, you can listen to the songs one by one and they're, you know, you can enjoy them that way. That's fine. But
we are just near the beginning of our Breakfast with Linkin Park here on the Kevin and Bean Show. The guys are graciously giving us some of their time on what is a very, very busy day for them because 1,000 Suns is available in stores and for download today. We'll take a quick break, come back with your questions, and the band's going to play more live for us right after this on the Kevin and Bean Show.
Let's get ready for breakfast!
It's Breakfast with Linkin Park.
You are listening to the Kevin and Bean Show, a very special day. It's 1,000 Suns Day. New Linkin Park music available for sale. We're doing Breakfast with Linkin Park right here on the Kevin and Bean Show.
to be, feeling so faithless, lost under the surface. I don't know what you're expecting of me, put under the pressure of walking in your shoes.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
Every step that I take is another mistake to you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. Can't you see that you're smothering me? Holding too tightly, afraid to lose control. 'Cause everything that you thought I would be has fallen apart right in front of you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
Every step that I take is another mistake to you.
Caught in the undertow, just caught in the undertow.
And every second I waste is more than I can take. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. And I know I may end up failing through, but I know you were just like me, with someone disappointed in you. I've become so numb, I can't feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you. Become so numb, tired of being what you want me to be. I've become so numb, tired of being what you want me to be.
It is Breakfast with Linkin Park. We are here with the guys. The album comes out today. How long have you been working on it? All 4 years? 3 years? 1,000 years?
But like about 2 years. We started. It's weird because we don't actually, you don't know when it actually starts. It's just like we're doing some demos on the road and things like that, and then I think that was probably about 2
You
years
have to
ago.
put a deadline on yourself to have.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, our band.
Otherwise, you'd tinker forever, right?
We would. We
just
would.
be in the studio making song after song till the end of time. And
Yeah.
But you've learned
That's
your
a-
lesson about putting a date on it. That's happened in the past where you've thought a record was coming out at some point, and then there's no way, right?
Yeah, that was
yeah,
called
I mean,
this
it's
one.
like we started off with Hybrid Theory, and here we worked our butts off to get signed, and then you get a deal, and it's like, okay, in 6 months we need an album, So that was like what we were thrown into. So we thought that was the process that needed to be followed. So
Not for very long,
we
you
did that
didn't.
with Meteora, and then we were like, wait a second, we don't need to really do that. That's kind of, we write the music, and then in the last month of the studio, Mike and I are in there like freaking out, like we don't know what we're gonna sing, we have no words, we don't know what the hell's going on, this doesn't feel that great. Let's take our time and just write. And then we made Minutes to Midnight, which took like forever. And we wrote like 1 million tracks.
Album title equals what? 1,000 Suns.
That was actually a lyric in the Catalyst before it was an album title, and we always just really liked the words. The funny thing is about this record, it was kind of like with a lot of the lyrics, we went about the lyric creation process in a little bit of a different way. It was really like intuitive, and we did something that was new for us called automatic writing. We were having trouble with writing one of the songs, and we asked Rick what he thought we should do, and he asked us if we'd ever heard of that technique. He said that he had tried it with, he had done it with Neil Young and Johnny Cash and Tom Petty, and we were like,
All right, take it easy, Rick.
sold!
What is it?
And basically, I mean, to make a long story short, it's like asking you to go up on the microphone and sing a song you've never heard before, that you haven't written yet, and just to sing new melody and new words right now.
Just ad-lib it? Just
Ad-lib
Pretty much,
it.
it's
Just
kind of
go
like
for
a hip hop version. It's like a rock version of
Freestyle.
freestyle,
Yeah.
but with melody and changes and all this kind of stuff. that
Actually,
you've
and
never
it doesn't
done
even
before.
have to be a rock verse, because I did that with some of the rap verses on this album too. And once I was really thinking about it, and when Chester said that we were talking about like the rap thing, like this is the way I know that, like, I think Jay-Z kind of writes this way and Lupe Fiasco kind of writes this way, and then putting that all together, it's kind of for us it was a more like almost like it was kind of trippy. Like you go in and you don't have anything, and then you walk out a couple hours later.
I
and
saw
you've got
some
a
video
song.
on LPTV of Chester doing that with one of the
Yeah,
songs, and I
yeah.
thought, how trusting must you be of your bandmates to not judge when you go in there and just let yourself open up like that?
I think that we're really lucky in the fact that we understand the process, and we all know, what you say immediately off the top of your head isn't like I'm presenting that as like, I said, rocket ship hamburger flavor of the week. Like,
That was
that's
a
not
lyric.
going to make.
That was what first
those
came
lyrics aren't going to make the record.
Who has the out cues? Somebody has all
I
of the
know. I
outtakes?
went with the outtake
Who
with
has
that
it?
one.
It's ridiculous, I mean, and the way we used to do things was we would scat. So we would basically, Mike and I would come in, and there'd be a la 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 la, or we'd kind of skippity skip.
Is
with
anybody
our
here
words,
in
and we would-
LP
there wouldn't even
Underground?
be a word.
LPU.
And
So you guys on the last LPU CD, with our LPU fan club, we basically we give away a CD with the membership every year, and this last one had some of those on it. And you could hear like us going, dun na 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 na, instead of like leave out all the rest. And it's like that's where we start from, and then we just basically start throwing horrible words in, and then we throw better words in.
Rick was like, I'd rather hear dumb words that make no sense than da na 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 one more time.
Let's get a couple of questions in from the audience here before we take a break and come back. More live music on the way from Linkin Park 2. Dave, the King of Mexico, who's up first?
Hi, my name is Jose. My question is, who was your favorite band to tour with?
To tour with.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a tough one. I personally, what's strange is that when I was in like junior high, I listened to like strictly hip hop. That was it. And anybody who like I was also in like art classes and stuff like that. I loved to draw, and there were it was like me and three other guys had like a rivalry with there's another group of like three guys, and we all listen to hip hop and they listen to Metallica. And it was this thing like, oh well, obviously we hate Metallica because of them, right? And when we finally went out on the road with Metallica, that was just incredible. I mean, like since that time, I've really grown to love their music. I think it's great, and the guys themselves are pretty awesome. It was one thing that made it extra amazing is that we are actually, I think, we're still the only band that has ever pulled a prank on them. Their security, we kind of made buddies with their security, and they let us up on stage. And during like Master of Puppets, when they're all so serious,
my skateboard.
they're
into,
like
Lars
they're all
Ulrich's
like
drum
serious
set.
and shredding, and we come out with like a picnic blanket and like sit down and have eat sandwiches and skateboard across their stage.
That's fantastic. One more, Dave. Who's next?
Hello, boys. My name is Lorraine. What CD do you guys currently have in your CD player?
What's a CD?
Absolution by Muse is in my car. And I think also the motion picture soundtrack for Inglourious Bastards.
All right, should we take another question from the audience?
Yes, one more, then we got to take a break.
What's up, guys? My name is Tony, and my question is, where's the most random place you have found inspiration from?
The most random place found inspiration from? I would probably say like watching like my son play like Pop Warner football. Watching those kids go out there and like they're busting their butts every day, and like You know, they don't complain. He goes to school, goes to do this thing, and then takes a hit and gets up and he wants to cry, but he sucks it out. It's like, that's pretty inspirational, you know.
You're talking about the Expendables now, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's pretty cool to see that kind of stuff happen. There's the little things in life that are the most inspirational, the things that kind of catch you off guard, you know, like how pretty your grass looks or something that day, or, you know, the way the clouds are dispersed in the sky, you know, in Arizona. I live in Arizona, the land of the best, you know, sunsets in the world. So it's those little kind of things that get me.
He's very emotional right now.
Yeah.
I'm tearing up.
I'm crying.
This is Breakfast with Linkin Park at the Kevin and Bean Show. We'll be right back with more after this.
Bring me my breakfast.
This is Kevin and Bean's Breakfast with Linkin Park.
We are back. It's Breakfast with Linkin Park, people. Come on now.
Standing in the wake of devastation, when you were waiting on the edge of the unknown, and with the cataclysm raining down, insides crying, save me now. You were there, impossibly alone. Do you feel cold and lost in desperation? You build up hope, but failure's all you've known.
You are listening to the Kevin and Bean Show. Very special day. It's our second ever Breakfast with Linkin Park, and we're having a great time with a couple of hundred hardcore Linkin Park fans. Super secret location, which I can now reveal, is a 7-Eleven parking lot in Ames, Iowa. That's where we are right now doing Breakfast with Linkin Park.
But only for a couple of more minutes. Let's go back out to the crowd and get a few of your questions. Where you're from and what your question is, please.
Hey, my name is Seamus. I'm from Orange. And which album of you guys do you consider to be the most meaningful or most important to you?
Could it be the one that comes out today?
1,000 Suns.
You know, that's always like a tricky one for us, because I think that with each record we're really, we're really trying to do something, different, something challenging, something fun for us. Like, we're trying to make music that we want to listen to, and hopefully make something that doesn't sound like other stuff, So in the moment, like right now, this is a time when we've worked on something really hard, and we worked on it for a long time, and we're excited to see, what you guys think of it. We're excited to get it out there into the world.
How tough is it to license the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King? As I would imagine there is some paperwork that has
that was
to be,
the hardest one by far.
I would imagine so, because they're pretty protective.
There are three like vocal clips on the record. The first one is J. Robert Oppenheimer, who's was the father of the atomic bomb. The second one was Mario Savio, who was a free speech activist, and the third one was Martin Luther King.
And then he turns into a transformer.
Yeah,
you had to get that too.
That's right. Got to bring the robots in.
And we actually had that talk in the studio. Like, okay, does it sound too much like a we don't want it to sound like a transformer.
It sounds like a transformer.
But the whole, that does speak to something that's a part of the record. Like, there's something we wanted the album to have that uncomfortable like mashing of organic elements and really digital elements, and we did it in the vocals, we did it in the music, all over the place in the album, because it feels like the stuff that we're talking about kind of comes from that. Like, I know that we all like I have like family members, and I know everybody here who has heard this before, like somebody in their family who's like, these kids today, they don't have any social skills, they don't know how to talk to each other, they only talk by text messages and emails, they can't stand in a room and have fun anymore.
Your dad is here. Is that an impression of him?
That's not my dad. My uncle, the funny thing is my uncle does that. He says that speech like all the time, and I'm like thinking to him, like, you don't realize I am that guy. Like, I do talk to everybody by text messages, email all the time. That's the way I talk to more people than anywhere and any other way. And so that to me, that's just the way we communicate now. It's part of the way we do things. It doesn't mean it's any. I think we're getting smarter because of it. And that stuff has like informed us about our relationships, informs us about the world, and all that information over the course of 2 years when you're writing a record, it just like sneaks its way into the sounds and the lyrics, and it made part of the record, I think.
I heard that at one point producer Rick Rubin told you to make every sound on the album interesting. And I listened with that quote in mind as I was listening to the record, and damn it if you didn't do it. I mean, listen to it with headphones, by the way, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah, this is definitely a record that I feel like, kind of going back to, your question about Martin Luther King's statement and the other speeches, and also going back to what you had asked before, Seamus, about, the important record that we've made. This album, more than any other album, I feel, really speaks. It tells a very beautiful human story of conflict and oppression and hope, and there's this mixture of the inner conflict that you have as a human, then how it relates to the things that are going on in the world, and all of these things really unfold as you hear the album.
All right, let's go back out to the crowd for one more question before the next break. Breakfast with Linkin Park. Dave, the King of Mexico, has who?
Hi, my name is Brian from Orange, California. And yes. I noticed that the last album had a theme of forgiveness to it. Does that theme continue into 1,000 Suns?
There's some of that on this record, for sure. There's definitely moments on the record that, talk about, remembering that through life and its ups and downs, that the most important aspect of it is that you're loved, and there are people in your life that truly care about you regardless of what you do or at the time, and that's the stuff that's important in life, and that's the stuff that makes you want to stand up against the things that keep you down, and that's what this record kind of has in it as well.
Somebody asked us, or a few people have asked us if it was a concept record.
We did.
Yeah, and just to address that a little bit, earlier on, like halfway through the process, we kind of thought it was going that direction. And what we, I think where we ended up at is that the term concept record just seems to have a lot of baggage. I think of things that don't necessarily line up with 1,000 Suns, like good records though. I mean, things like Tommy, rock operas and stuff like that you think of. This is more about various concepts, and they kind of float in and out of the album. You'll hear lyrics that are, they show up in one song and then they go away and then they show up in a song later. You'll hear sound. The first song on the whole album, the Requiem, is made up of sounds that you're about to hear. So almost all the sounds in that song are sounds from other songs.
Who sings that?
That's me. The girl voice is
You're
me.
the girl?
You want to know what's really funny?
Wait, check it out. Hold on.
Wait, you're the girl?
Hold on.
The first track is all sung by a girl.
You want to know something really funny? I did an interview with someone who listened to the record, and she had said, Chester, your voice sounds so different in this one part of the song. How did you make your voice sound so different? And I was like, because it's Mike. That's why it doesn't sound like me. It's Mike.
What's happening right now?
I'm just a little girl, dude. I'm just a little girl that loves Kevin and Bean, okay?
Well, I'm Chris Hansen. Thank you for coming. All right, Breakfast with Linkin Park is happening here on the Kevin and Bean Show. More questions, more live music right after this.
Are you ready for breakfast? Be ready.
The Kevin and Bean Show's Breakfast with Linkin Park.
We are back. It is Breakfast with Linkin Park. The guys are here.
Today's a big day, a day a lot of us have been waiting for a long time. 1,000 Suns available for download and in stores. You can buy it at Best Buy. You get one configuration. In fact, you get the winner, your guy from Germany who did the remix.
He's from Poland.
Poland, right?
He's
Did the
from Poland,
remix from Kalish. You get that on the Best Buy version.
Yeah,
you get Blackbirds on the iTunes version, which has not been available for sale as a song, right? You got a DVD making of. You just got a lot of great stuff that's available and some special stuff through your website. that people can
just
buy
to
too.
speak on that real quickly, I personally love the documentary. The DVD is called Making
Something really complicated, Making of the 1,000 Suns.
It's a crazy title.
Yeah, crazy. It's like 30 minutes, and it's just really. I mean, it was kind of like uncomfortable for us to see it as it was put together. It definitely paints like this really like tense negative picture that doesn't sum up the whole.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
But it is a great thing to watch. It definitely gives you a real insight into what the process was like at some time.
How can you have two Asian guys in the band, yet no one could take a photo in focus for the cover? What's up with that? How did that happen?
Well, we're not models, and we basically have one pose. I think this is my pose in every picture.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, I know this is radio. I know this is radio. So everyone out there listening, watch.
But there's a big. It's a blob. It's a big blob.
I mean,
on the
it's
album
like
cover, right?
and with this.
Do you want the real answer? Do you want?
I was curious where the photo came from.
To be honest, we have inside. We've been working on the art for the record for a long time with a great team of people, very talented people, and we have this huge catalog of great imagery. And when we saw that particular image, I think part of the reason we were drawn to it is because it is so minimalist and it's so stark. And we knew that if you got the booklet, if you got the CD and you saw that in the cover and you're set up for something really minimalist and small, whatever, and you open it up and you just get blasted by all this cool stuff. Like, I personally just love the feeling of that. Also, it's like kind of like an ink blot test. I mean, like everybody sees. I've literally heard people say it looks like a bird, it looks like a dog, it looks like my mother. I mean,
Who said it looks like their mother?
Joe.
Joe. All right. I saw the video for the Catalyst, which I believe you're going to do in a second. Chester, you're underwater. It seems like it would be easier to sing if you weren't underwater.
He's
singing underwater.
You're not supposed to really try to open all of the holes in your face and your head, as you're performing a song. It's really not a natural thing. There was a couple times where, I think the last take of the day, I was kind of like laying on my back and I'm floating there and I'm singing the song and I'm trying not to breathe so that I can stay afloat. And I'm like mouthing the words and I go, da, da, and this time I'm trying to say it because we're really trying to get the pronunciation of the words to look right. and I'm singing the song, and I go, God bless us, everyone. And I go, cut! That's it, you know, and everybody's freaking out and like, you know.
Mr. Hahn, where'd all that come from? I mean, one thing
yeah,
that's
it's horrible.
so recognizable about Linkin Park is how different yet awesome all the videos are. Where'd you come up with this one?
Just
trying to kill Chester?
I was trying to parallel the emotional intensity of the music in a visually stunning way that would exemplify Chester's profile in a...
We're being punked right now, right?
In a very contrasting way that hasn't been seen before.
All right.
Well said.
Glad we asked that.
If there's ever a video for Blackout, you will die during that.
You will die.
You will
Yes.
die trying to sing that for an entire 2 days making a video. Let's face it.
There are definitely moments on every record where at the end I go, why did I do that? You know?
Now I have to do it on stage every night.
Crawling was that one for me on Hybrid Theory.
One Step Closer had to hurt.
One Step Closer would hurt, but it was easier to sing. And on this one, Blackout was that song, and I just am sitting there going, I don't know what I'm gonna do to get through this one track every single night. And now I'm gonna have to do all 3 of those freaking songs in a set every single day.
Got time for one more question. Linkin Park's going to play live for us again here on the Kevin and Bean Show. Who's up next?
Hi guys, I'm Christina from Baldwin Park. I was just wondering if you guys wanted to see the tattoo that I promised these guys I'd get Kevin and Bean back in 2007 when they brought me in for the Linkin Park.
Oh
Sure.
my God, that's right.
Tattoo. It's on the wrist?
It's on the wrist.
Oh, it's on the wrist. Okay. You probably see a lot of Linkin Park tattoos, I would imagine, right?
We do see some, you know, and I do think of those things when we're making like a record that obviously this record sounds a lot different from the other records, and I kind of wonder sometimes if those people who get the tattoos are going to be like, oh, these guys just screwed me.
Now I got to get lasered off.
Like I really liked them back in the day, and now
Hey, Kevin's still got his Culture Club tattoo. Sometimes you don't know.
There's a guy in Germany that I had the pleasure of meeting who he has a picture of my face. It's like 8 inches tall, and it takes up the entire front of his calf, and it says crawling underneath it, and it literally is done by one of the best portrait
It's really
artists I've
good.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It literally looks just like the photo that they did it from, and I was like, when I met him, and I was like, wow, that's a really, that's a great tattoo. The technique is great, but that's my face.
That was troubling?
Like, you have my head on your leg for the rest of your life. Like, is that really what you wanted to do? I mean, there's better looking things out there in the world than me, like, drooling on myself, screaming during a live performance.
Does anyone in Linkin Park have a Linkin Park tattoo? Logo, anything?
Unfortunately.
You do?
I made myself a promise, when
Is it your face?
It's my face, and it's awesome. It's a picture of Steve-O with my face tattooed on his knee. But it's I promised myself when I was younger, and mind you, this is one of those goals that like you don't really have to live up to, but I did. I said if I'm ever in a band that sells 1 million records, I'm gonna get the name of the band tattooed on me. And, like, that's kind of like one of those things, like, when I go to Jupiter, I'm going to go through the entire, planet in my orb, and it's going to be awesome. It's never going to happen, you know what I mean? So it happened, and I was like, oh, dude, it happened. I sold 1 million records. Linkin Park is awesome. And now I have Linkin Park across my back. And
a tramp
if
stamp.
anybody's
That's right.
wondering,
That's right.
is that the guy from Linkin Park? And then I'm at the beach and I walk by, they go, yep, that's the guy from Linkin Park. Because it's written in giant letters across his back.
Awesome.
Yep, I am not the smartest person in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the great Linkin Park for being here for the breakfast. We got one more song. There's that tattoo right there. One more song to close it out if you haven't already done so. People here, people listening, go buy a Linkin Park album today. It's called 1,000 Suns. Give it up for the band. Linkin Park.
Thank you.